Bees. Some think they're the most important animals on the planet. They help plants reproduce by moving pollen from one flower to the next. This is important for us because about a third of all the food we eat is thanks to bee pollination. But the busy life of the bee may be under threat. A spore-forming bacteria called American foul brood kills bees. Nurse bees are not affected by the bacteria, but they pass disease spores onto young larvae while feeding them. If the young eat too many spores, they die. This is a huge problem for beekeepers. Fortunately, help might be at hand. Rochelle always wanted to live on a farm.
But I was one of these animal crazy kids, and my parents always wondered where I came from because of it.
While Rochelle loves all the animals on her farm, she's particularly fond of her dogs.
Clown is my beardie. She's my farm dog. She chases cows and loves it. And then I have a German Shepherd who's, could say, our home security. He's the house dog.
Clown, speak up, go, speak up.
But her staffy Georgie has the most important job of all. Because Rochelle's farm is dependent on her husband's beehives. Husband James runs 3,000 hives. And they're important for the farm finances.
The bees was always the main income. Like farming is it doesn't have the capacity to generate the income. The land is so expensive and the return of it isn't real great. I think the first year our honey crop we got something like $1.80 a kilo. And this year clover is up to $13 and manuka is anything up to $80 a kilo.
In New Zealand, honey is liquid gold. But that flow of honey and money is threatened by the damage caused by American foul brood. It was first found in New Zealand in 1877 and quickly spread across the country. Within 10 years, honey production dropped by 70% and many hives were destroyed. Today, New Zealand honey is worth over $300 million. So preventing disease is really important. By the 1960s, a new law required all hives to be checked annually. This matchstick test indicates American foul brood because the larvae is dead and sticky like caramel.
American foulbrood is a pain in the arse, if I'm allowed to say that.
Because disease is spread by bees, and even the beekeepers, infected hives must be burnt to prevent it spreading. A productive hive can cost up to $1,000, so burning them is serious business.
Foulbrood is just a niggling thing. When you find it, you think, ah, shit, another burner. If we didn't have American foulbrood, beekeeping would be, every man and his dog would be doing it. It would be so easy. When you get these other things coming in like American foulbrood, that's where you've got to start looking at your bees and disease checking. And it slows you right down.
With 3,000 hives, checking every frame in every hive for disease can take weeks.
The bigger our bee business got and the more staff that we employed, the more AFB we were getting, because they weren't finding it and we were spreading it. So we needed some help. We were watching TV, as you do, and watching the border security program, Border Control. And here are the detector dogs sniffing out all sorts of things, fruit, drugs, money. And we thought, well, why not AFB?
Good girl.
Rochelle contacted dog trainer Renee to see if he could train a dog to find American foulbrood.
Scientists say that dog's nose can be up to 10,000 times more powerful than a human's nose.
Renee has trained dogs to find many things. Bears in Taiwan, snakes at our borders, and now he's training dogs to find American foulbrood.
The traits we're looking for in a potential detector dog is the drive and the motivation to work for the toy.
Renee met Georgie through a local rescue charity and thought she might be suitable for training.
I tested Georgie over a 3-day period and put her through different assessments, making sure that her ball drive was to the level we need for her to be trained as a potential detector dog, that she's not aggressive or scared of people, noises, strange objects. And Georgie did very well, and she was very, right from the beginning, very enthusiastic and very keen to do whatever I asked her to do.
Yeah.
Renee's enthusiasm was fantastic, and that really helped us decide, yep, let's do it.
So a dog that might have been put down now has a new purpose in life. American foulbrood produces a fishy odour that humans can't always detect. But dogs have a more sensitive nose and can be taught to find it. Flynn is also being trained by Renee.
The way we train a dog to detect AFB, the American foulbrood, is by initially get the dog to understand he or she has to look for the toy. At the same time, we pair up the toy, the reward, with the odour of AFB. So every time the dog finds the toy, also finds odour-wise the AFB. So that imprinting happens right from day one.
Okay, Flynn. Do it again. Do it again.
This process of pairing reward with an odour is what scientists call operant conditioning.
Find her.
Renee repeats this process again and again and again until the dog learns to find American foulbrood to receive his reward.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that the use of detector dogs is a very good solution in helping controlling the spread of AFB in New Zealand.
Unfortunately, not everyone thinks using a dog is a good idea.
Dogs sometimes fail to detect, even at reasonably high levels, because they've had something wrong with their nose, they've got a cold, or they've been stung by a bee, or the temperature's not right. So they're not as reliable as people would like them to be.
But James disagrees.
Look, you've only got to look at Border Patrol. I mean, the government is training detector dogs to smell money, fruit, drugs. And here is a dog that can sniff out this incredibly virulent bacteria, and the government don't want a bar of it. How narrow-minded is that?
However, studies have found that detector dogs aren't always successful.
We do know that in some trials they've looked at with dogs, there's about 25% failure rate to detect it on occasion, and we do know that like biosecurity dogs, they regularly fail to pick up drugs and honey and stuff like that, so the systems are not perfect.
Renee is aware that dogs are limited and trains them accordingly.
I can understand the concerns of the beekeeping community, the use of detector dogs for AFB detection. However, we have proven with the dogs we've trained so far that the dogs can successfully detect AFB.
To make them work as effectively as possible, dogs are trained to ignore distractions like toys, beeswax and honey frames.
As the dog learns to look for the AFB, the target odor, the dog gets more sensitive to actually be able to identify the AFB in more difficult, challenging situations.
Oh boy. I'll find her. Boy. Cheeky. Good boy, Flynn. That's a good boy. Yeah. That's a good boy, Flynn. Okay. Yeah. Good boy. That is better.
Franz thinks dogs aren't needed and that visual inspections are enough.
Visual inspection is generally extremely effective, probably in the 99 to 100% effective. It is extremely well controlled compared with other countries. We have some of the lowest levels in the world.
But with Manuka honey a booming business, the risk of disease may increase.
The honey industry now is like a gold rush. Every man and his dog with a quarter-acre patch of Manuka wants 100 hives on it, and they know nothing about beekeeping. And it's an absolute nightmare.
So perhaps dogs can be used as extra insurance, another way to find American foulbrood.
The dog it's an invaluable tool. And people should embrace it, It's not the silver bullet to eradicate foulbrood, but when you've got inexperienced labour and you've got one experienced beekeeper looking after 5 boys, he's not going to look in every beehive. The dog can.
However, as Franz points out,